Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to you, and welcome to Tuesdays with Tabitha. Thank you for joining us. Tuesdays with Tabitha is a weekly live stream where we go live inside of my Facebook group and also on my YouTube channel, and you can watch replays on my YouTube channel. In today's live, I'm going to talk to you about three compelling reasons to avoid workplace conflict. But before we start, if this is the first time you're meeting me or if you're reconnecting with me for a long time, my name is Tabitha Liburd and I am an HR manager, an attorney, and a conflict management strategist. And I teach professionals to manage conflict in their relationships, workflows, and systems with ease so that they can bridge the gap between issues and outcomes to create a peaceful workplace. If you're joining live today or if you're watching the replay, I would love for you to share with me where you're joining from in the comments. And also, if you know someone who is going to be blessed by this message today, three compelling reasons to avoid workplace conflicts, I'd love for you to share this video with them so that they can also get the tips that we are sharing today. So we're going to start, and I'll encourage you to grab a piece of pen and your notebook as we talk today about this topic. So, why are we talking about compelling reasons to avoid workplace conflicts? Well, today I'm talking about avoiding workplace conflicts and when doing that would be most beneficial to you as a leader. And I'm going to share a few examples of the benefits of avoiding conflict and how leaders like you can avoid conflict effectively. Now, whether you are someone who likes to jump in immediately to resolve things, or if you instinctively avoid confrontation at work, this video is for you. Today, I'm going to help you understand the causes of conflict. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the times when doing this is most beneficial for you as a leader. So we're going to understand confrontation at work. We're going to understand what causes confrontation at work. And we're also going to talk about when avoiding that confrontation is beneficial for you as a leader. So, what kind of person are you when it comes to conflict? Well, maybe you don't like arguing in the workplace. Maybe you're someone who asks yourself, how can conflict be avoided? Because you don't like engaging in conflict. Or maybe you're one of those straightforward people who like to tell it like it is, like to be completely transparent with people on your team, and at the same time, you're worried about how to navigate conflict well. Or you can be someone who might be afraid to let your emotions get the best of you when there is trouble on the horizon. Well, I want to encourage you today that leaders who know how to avoid conflicts will win in any of these situations that we're going to talk about later. And if you are a leader who knows when and how to avoid conflict, you will stop acting out of emotion and become calmer and more centered. And being a leader who is calmer and more centered is going to bless the people connected to you. Also, if you're a leader who knows how to avoid conflict, you're going to be able to use conflict resolution tools, and they're going to help you to anticipate outcomes when your team might be involved in conflict. Or knowing how to avoid conflict is going to help you develop patience and skills that are going to build your workplace relationships. It's going to help you discover conflict and mitigate it in your workplace systems and in the roles of the people who work with you. And most importantly, leaders who know when to avoid conflicts will create an efficient, happy, and productive team that is producing peaceful profits for the organization. Now, before we talk about avoiding conflict, let us see if we know what it is. Today, I'm going to share with you a definition of conflict that is written by Christopher Moore, one of the leading conflict resolution luminaries in the field of conflict management. And he defined conflict as involving a struggle over values, involving a competition for status, involving a competition for power, or involving a competition for scarce resources. So, Christopher Moore's definition for conflict says that conflict involves a struggle over values, a competition for status, a competition for power, or a competition for scarce resources. So, these are the things that you are going to be looking to identify as conflict before deciding whether or not you will engage or avoid. And today we're talking about the times when it's beneficial for you as a leader to avoid. But before we get there, I want to remind you that conflict does have positive consequences. Conflict, as we defined them before, can help you or your team to find creative solutions once they get past the issues that have arisen. Conflict can also help you as a leader to make clearer decisions because you are able to find the root cause of the problem. Conflict can help you also to encourage reconciliation and promote reconciliation within the organization because once the conflict is identified and discussed, it might be that people are able to own what they have done and own what needs to be corrected, and reconciliation can enter into the arena of your team. So, when is it best for leaders to avoid conflict? Well, avoiding conflicts has its limits, but it's useful in the situations that I'll share with you now. One of the situations where it's best for leaders to avoid conflict is when you, as a leader, need time to think about an issue, to gather more information about that issue, and to consult someone or to do some research and prepare for a discussion. So this would be appropriate in situations where there are data conflicts, when there are conflicts about misinformation or ideas of relevancy or interpretation of data. And if there is a data conflict, you as a leader might want to avoid that conflict by taking time to think about the issue, to gather some more information on what's happening, and then to consult, whether it's experts or your own research, and prepare for a discussion. Another scenario where it's best for you as a leader to avoid conflict is when there is a disagreement, but that disagreement is minor and it is with someone who you don't have a long-term relationship with. Now, this strategy is very useful when there are values conflicts, for example, where there are values about habits of the mind or heart, or values about world beliefs and principles. Or this might also be appropriate when there's a relationship conflict and you don't necessarily have a long-term relationship with the person who is involved. And so it might be best to avoid that conflict where the disagreement is minor and where you don't have a long-term relationship with that person. And the third time that it's best for a leader like you to avoid conflict is where key people involved in the situation are stressed and anxious. Now, remember, anxiety and stress will rob you or rob someone else of our ability to regulate our emotions. And when emotions are unregulated, they affect our decisions. And so it's often wise to delay engaging in conflict until you or your key employee, whether that person is your boss or a team member who is crucial to the organization and the project that you are working on, can be at their best. So, when a key person involved in the project is stressed or anxious, especially when that person is a decision maker, it is best to avoid conflict. So, today we talked about the three times when it is important for leaders like you to avoid conflict. The first was when you need more time to think about the issue, gather more information, or consult and prepare for a decision. The second time is where there is a minor disagreement with someone who you don't have a long term relationship with. And the third was where key people involved in the project are stressed and anxious. And in any of these situations, it is useful for you to avoid conflict. Well, thanks for joining us live. And if you've enjoyed this live stream or if it is beneficial to you, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can search Tabitha Liburd on YouTube, click the subscribe button, and click the notifications for when we go live again with Tuesdays with Tabitha. And if there's anything that you'd like help with, I'd love for you to reach out to me. You can send me a direct message, and I'll be happy to connect with you to help you on any project you might have that might involve some conflict that you want to avoid. So thank you very much for listening and have a great rest of the day. Bye.